All right. What's up, everybody? How are you guys doing out there, man? I see the people coming in little by little. We got about 10 people coming
And you
in.
are now
That
listening
is
to
amazing.
Activate LA Radio.
I want to welcome into the show our next guest. Our guest actually today, on this Friday night. Please help me welcome our friend ELISA Benton.
I just got a huge bag of Milky Way.
Let me see.
Hey Ray, happy to be here.
I hope I pronounced your last name right. I've been, is it Bentoncourt or Benoncourt?
You did a great job, Benton Court.
Okay, there we go. All right. So how you doing? How's your Friday going so far?
It's going good. Just recovering from a cold, but other than that, my Friday's going great. How about yours?
It's pretty good. I'm off of work and I'm not trick or treating anymore. Luckily, I'm 42 now. They won't want to give me no
You know
candy.
what? It's never too late to trick or treat.
That's right. That's true. You know what? At the end of the show, I'm gonna take off. I have a luchador mask and I don't know what kind of mask is that, but are you superstitious?
I wouldn't say I'm superstitious, but I have a strong faith background, so I like Halloween, but we'll just keep it at that.
Okay. All right. Let me make a brief introduction of our guest today, and thank you once again for being on the show. It means a lot. Thank you for giving us the chance. You could have been resting, enjoying your day, but we're honored to have you on the show. Our friend ELISA, you are amateur multi-fighter with a current record of 5'2", 5'1", actually 5'1". I'm already giving you extra records. Tell us a little bit more on your side, how you got started with the whole career as a multi-fighter and your background.
Yeah, so growing up, my dad was an amateur boxer, and so he would always like talk to me in like metaphors of fighting, and like he would hold up his hands and have me hit them, and I would enjoy hearing his stories too about when he would fight when he was younger. And he kind of, as mentioned, like I have a strong faith background. My dad's actually a pastor as well now. So he would always tell me things like just to help me with my confidence, like you don't fear anybody, only fear God. And when you look at people, make sure that you look at them in their eye. Don't let anybody intimidate you.
Oh.
And then he always told me like life is like being in a boxing ring, that you're going to go through circumstances in life that are extremely hard. But no matter like when you get hit, just remember that shortly after the bell's going to ring and whatever you're going through is shortly going to be over. And he would also tell me things like suffer now, glory later. So I always had like this passion of like, oh yeah, fighting's cool. And to be honest with you, I wasn't the best kid when I was younger. I guess you would say like the things that I've went through, I kind of masked myself with one emotion, which was anger. So I got into a lot of street fights growing up. And I just always remembered like kind of what my dad told me, like if anybody ever like says anything to you or don't be fearful of them. So it kind of escalated quick because I'm not really like a confrontational person.
Yeah.
So if somebody said something to trigger me, I'm like, oh, they want to fight, and
Wow.
and it street record.
Yeah.
40. No, I'm just kidding. No,
Yeah, I can see.
no, I'm just playing. But no, I did. So sorry, Mom. I apologize for all the troubles that I got into. And my dad would be the dad that'd be like, you know what? Like my mom would tell my dad. Well, they separated when I was 4, but my mom would tell my dad like, your daughter's out of control. And he was like, I'll talk to her. And he was like, did you win though? Like, after he was like, oh, my dad would want to know all the details, right? But I got into a long-term relationship when I was 16 years old, and had my son when I was 21. So I did train in a gym when I was 13, boxing, right? But it wasn't on and off. I mean, it wasn't consistent. It was on and off. Unfortunately, when you have parents, that are not able to like take you there to the gym or based off of financial circumstances, I didn't have the opportunity to to start off at a young age, or else I think if I would have found martial arts at a younger age and would
Yeah.
have been in a gym, it may have kept me out of trouble, because once I did go into training consistently, I realized like it helped me with overcome like that emotion, which I'll get into later before I
Yeah.
kind of go on a tangent about that. But what I got into a long-term relationship, and I was with my son's dad for 10 years. We had a kid when we were 20, when I was 21. And I believe we were going through a separation when I was 24, 25 years old. And he was like really kind of jealous. So that's all the other thing too. I wasn't able to go into like a gym that was like male dominant because he
Yeah.
just wouldn't have it. And while we finally separated, I was like, man, I need to put my time into something that's going to distract me, because I'm a very excessive person. So if I want to party, I'll do it excessively. If I
Yeah.
drink, I'm going to do it excessively, right? So
Okay.
um, right away, I went into, so what happened is, um, I started looking for gyms that I wanted to go into. And I did, like I mentioned, I was in a boxing gym before, but I was like, let me find something that's challenging, right? Boxing is extremely challenging. I mean, but then I decided, like, oh, what's kickboxing? Maybe I want to do kickboxing because it's something new that I haven't done.
Yeah.
And then after I found a gym Muay Thai, and I was like, what's Muay Thai? And then it was like the art of 8 limbs. And
Oh.
then it was like elbows, knees, everything. And then
Oh.
I was
Okay.
like,
Okay.
dang, this sounds
Oh.
lethal. Like, this is what I want to learn. This is what it is. And then I came across a gym page, right? It was Master Toddy's LA Training Center in Pomona.
Big shout out to
And
that
then I
man.
was like, who's Master Toddy? And then after I seen that he produced a show called Fight Girls, right? Well, he's the basically like the godfather of Muay Thai. Like that's what he's known for. And so
Wow.
then I seen that he had a series called Fight Girls, and Gina Carano, she came from Master Toddy, and I was like, okay, one of my for right away for some reason, which never even like actually having a fight before, I was like, I want to be like Gina Carano. I was like, I want to go on a series, and I want to be a fighter. That's exactly what I said. And
Wow.
so then when I went into the gym, and they were like, the coach asks like, so what is it like that brought you to my gym, like to the gym? I'm just curious. And
Want to kick
then
ass.
I was like, oh, well, I seen Fight Girls, and I was like, and I want to be on a fight series, and I want to fight. And it's probably like, hold up, wait a minute. Like, why are you even like, like the coach was just like, oh yeah, that's cool, but like, you need to train first before we just put you in there, right? And so then
You were ready to
uh
go in there.
I was ready to go in there. And then when I sparred, like I had a rude awakening, because it's not a street fight. And you don't fight off of like adrenaline dumps, because obviously like you have to last for a while. So
Yeah.
I learned how to control it. I learned how to control fight without feeling off of anger. Because if you fight angry, you can't. You have to be calm, composed, tactical. So it took me a while. I remember first sparring, and like I would clench my mouth, right? And I would be so tense. My whole body would be so tense. And so then I remember like my after like sparring, my jaw would feel like all sore for like a week,
I
just because
bet. Yeah. I can
of
imagine.
of the tension. And then finally, like I got to a point maybe like 3 6 months in, where I was able to like spar without, having that tension and
Yeah.
developing. And so before I even did my first like Muay Thai smoker, I decided to do a jujitsu tournament. Maybe I think it was 3 months into training. I think 6 months into training, just because I was so eager to compete. And the coach was like, well, before you do Muay Thai, because you may get injured, like you should do a jujitsu tournament, which to think about it, jujitsu is just as dangerous. Like you could break somebody's like,
Yeah.
arm. So then I was just like, okay, so I got my taste of competing. But from the day of walking into the gym, day one, I already knew this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
I had my mindset that I was going to become a pro fighter. And and my idol was Gina Carano. And
Wow.
so coming full circle to like in May, I was going to do this underdog series, uh, and I applied for it, online, and I seen it because I wanted to do a trip to Thailand, and I came across it on Master Toddy's actual gym. So my crew, let me go back. So my crew,
Yeah.
shout out to Crew John.
Big shout out to John.
Um, Crew John trained under Master Toddy. He was in Thailand, pad holder there, and so he's the one who basically taught me everything that I know, along with other mentors that have helped me along the way. Which I'll shout out those coaches after. Shout out to
Yeah.
Rusty Shack
Go ahead.
System. Thank you for always being there, helping me, like giving me those extra nuggets. But and shout out to my boyfriend Vinny. He's also helped me
Big shout
too
out to
along
Vinny.
the way. So having like a strong team and people to help you kind of like, because to think about it, we could both look at the same thing, but see a different perspective, right? So sometimes it's good to have somebody that will take a look at like what you're doing, at least experts like coaches, right? Take a look at what you're doing, and then they see different things. They may see different holes in your game, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, yeah, what, maybe one coach is going to say, oh yeah, well, keep your hands like this or do this, and then it's kind of like you take the best from it, right?
Yeah.
So then basically what happened was, I was going to be on a series that was done by Master Toddy, right? It was Master Toddy's underdog fight series. Basically, that was going to be about the 5 year mark, or around there, 4 year mark, since I walked into the gym and said that I wanted to be on a fight series, and I was so confident that's what I was going to
Yeah.
do before even like actually having a fight. And
Okay.
so the opportunity presented itself. I met Master Toddy personally, and
Wow.
so it was kind of like meeting like another like idol, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I met some other great people from around the world. And unfortunately, uh, the whole tournament didn't happen. I mean, there's
Mm.
footage of us training and everything, so it didn't happen. And when that didn't happen, I felt like I came back home from Thailand because, well, let me go back and elaborate more on
Yeah.
that.
I
So
want to
when I
ask you.
was,
I want to ask you a question, real quick, because you mentioned a smoker. Just so the people in the chat, they know what a smoker is. Can you let them know? I know we talked about it behind the
yeah,
scenes.
of course. So a smoker basically is point sparring. It doesn't go on your amateur record, like it's not considered an amateur fight, but now they do have you like put it on your record under smokers. So it's kind of is carrying some type of it has some type of like impact on your record. It's just not really an amateur fight. The difference is you wear 16-ounce gloves. You wear shin guards, head protection. No elbows are allowed. So basically, that's what a smoker is. There's no knockouts as well, so you're not allowed
Mm.
to like knock out your opponent. And whenever someone's getting really pressured, where it looks like they could potentially like be overwhelmed, there's a ref that like stops it and then resets it, right? So it's a really great way to kind of begin, fighting before even going into an amateur fight, because you like still feel those nerves of like, being in the ring. So it's a whole other mental game too, that it's
Yeah.
not even just fighting, but like the way how the amateur scene works is, it's like, you have to worry about like being in a certain weight, right? And then after that, it's like some promotions you weigh in same day, and you'll fight later on in the day, or some promotions it's like weigh in day before and then fight the following day. But you basically sometimes, if the fights don't start until 7 p.m., you have to be there at 4 p.m., and you may not even fight until 10 p.m., and your
Oh.
opponent's right next to you, so you're kind of like in this back room
Oh
waiting to
man.
fight, and you just have this
You're
At
all
first, it's like you
frustrated.
have these nerves building up because you're like just waiting and waiting and waiting until finally like they release you. Like, okay, time to like get busy. So it's like a mental game too.
Yeah. Sorry, I took you off, threw you off. I just wanted to make sure because also too I learned, I didn't know what a smoker was. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Let's try to bring it back. I'm sorry I threw you off. I just want to make sure we touched on
Of
that.
course, yeah, cover all bases. I'm sure people are curious. And I think different states or they call them different things too. It may not be smokers. Point kickboxing, PKBs, that's what we call them, PKBs in the Muay Thai community too.
Yeah, the chat's wild over there. It's like, yeah, I'm a weed smoker. They're pretty cool in the chat. Big shout
Uh-huh.
out to everybody in the chat. We do this every Friday, and everybody's cool. Big shout out to all the mods. They make sure nobody gets crazy on the chat. So good. Um, so man, I'm gonna try to take it back to where I interrupted you. Do you kind of remember? I might have to.
Yeah, so
Okay.
basically when I went to Thailand, I went during the time that it was the highest rate for COVID cases. So when I went to Thailand,
Mhm.
I had to get like there's like a special entry, right? Like I have to get a certificate of entry, and then I had to quarantine in I believe it's called an ASQ facility for 14 days prior to even being allowed into the country. So then when I finally got to the quarantine facility, that was a mental challenge in its own, just because you are in this room, like a hotel room, and you can't even go out for walks. You don't see anybody. They just like lock you in the room, and
Wow.
then they give you food at your door. You could only go out for testing, which I believe they tested me about 3 times while I was there. And then I had to log in my temperature to make sure that, of course, I didn't have COVID. So it was kind of like going into a different country by myself, not knowing
Yeah.
anybody, and then being isolated for that long time. Like, that was a challenge in itself.
Yeah, I'm sure you were culture shock. That's a for sure. I traveled previously to Asia, and I was like, whoa, but when it comes to like culture, but not only culture with the people, but when it comes to the martial art, uh, were you shocked to what's the difference? I mean, obviously there's a big difference, but
Oh yeah,
I'm
of
acting
course.
like I gotta
You
play the
know
part.
what? I went there, and I went there extremely excited because it's like the motherland of the
Yeah,
sport that I do. So just to be in Thailand was like for sure a bucket list thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to experience the culture,
yeah,
um, meet the people, and of course, learn as much as I could from there, take what I can. So it's kind of interesting because right when I got into the airport, then right when I got off of the airport, they had like a taxi escort me directly to the facility.
mm.
So I didn't get to like really view Thailand. It was like right
Oh,
away, just going into this hotel. There was no balcony. And
wow.
then I was
Oh,
like, oh
wow.
crap, like I have to get ready for this fight. So I was doing prison workouts in my room.
Yeah.
I was like getting like pillowcases with water, and probably like the size of a hallway, right? Is like the
Yeah.
space that I had to work out. And then I was getting the pillowcases, putting water in there, doing my
Oh,
squats,
wow. Okay, okay.
doing my push-ups, shadow boxing,
Snaps.
and then also trying to find like hit workouts online, and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
trying to make sure that I was like working out, at least 2 hours while I was in there, and I didn't have like this huge weight gain.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I was doing for the most part.
Kind of reminded me. I don't know if you've seen that Korean movie called Old Boy, where like he's in prison in a little room too, and he just starts training. Like somebody kidnaps him, and
No, but sounds good. You
oh,
gotta let me know what movie that is.
I'll send you the
I'll
link.
definitely watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's about this guy. They kidnap him, and I think they kill his family. It's been a while, but they just put him in
Uh-huh.
a little room, and he has a TV, so there's nothing to do, and he's just there, depressed, and then finally he starts he just starts working out, starts training whatever he sees on the TV. When it comes to fighting or exercise, he starts imitating, so he develops a whole
Hmm.
a whole persona, different person, and
Yeah,
he
yeah.
escapes. But I gotta send you the link. You'll love that
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, definitely can. Yeah, it's crazy because even while I was in there, they had a sign, well, they had me sign I guess everyone who probably checked into these hotels like um death waivers, like if we die, they're not responsible because a lot of people were depressed going there,
Mm.
that there was cases of people jumping out of their hotel
Oh my!
buildings.
Oh,
So yeah, there was just it was like a crazy time.
sad. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, but once you got out, did you get the chance visit the temples and all that? Thailand is a place. I love everything that has to do with temples and all that. So did you get the chance to?
Yeah, so when I when I first the first day that I got out of the hotel, I was just excited to see a person, and I was like super happy to be out of there, and I was just like in awe of how beautiful it was there. And since it is like a big tourist place, I was also surprised to see that signs were in Thai, but also like in English as
Oh.
well. So it made it a little bit more easier for me to like understand what was going on. And then I was in shock because I was like, dang, they have like a big biker gangs that are out here, but I didn't know that for the most part everybody was on mopeds, right?
Good
So then
thing
I
you
was
told me.
like,
If not, I
what
would
is
have
all
been.
these like, because you think like, here in California, you see like a
Oh,
crew of people on bikes. It's like, oh, like, that's
yeah,
like a biker crew. And it's just like, no, that's like for the most part transportation. And then I
yeah.
was just kind of tripping out because they didn't have like helmets or any
That's
protection. So I
wild,
was
huh?
like, dang. And you see like you trip out because you'll see like a family of four on a moped, and then you're like, how is that possible? Like I seen
Damn.
like one person with like maybe a baby that was like 1 years old, and it's like holding a baby in the hand on the
And the baby's
on the
driving.
moped.
The baby's
Yeah,
steering.
yeah.
They have a what is that called? Another. It's like a little motorcycle moped. Toot 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 or tuk tuk tuk
Yeah, a toot toot. Yeah,
tuk tuk.
basically.
Right? Yeah,
Or no,
yeah.
or
Tuk
yeah.
tuk or something. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Big shout out to all the fan bam in Thailand. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's one of my dreams right there. I had the chance to go to Japan. I want to go to Egypt. Thailand will be amazing. I would love to visit everything. And
Yeah.
yeah,
S-
um,
So, but going on the back of the mopeds, I remember like, oh, I didn't know that you can just go up to like there's like a lot of people that have you can just go up to a location and then you can go ride the moped for like 40 baht, right? And get around places.
oh,
So then we went to go, like we would ride the mopeds a lot or go in the back of a moped and go to the market, like in the night, and eat like the street vendor food. So I didn't know like the proper etiquette of going on a moped, and so I
okay.
just thought like I'm holding the person like in the back of them. And then I asked one of the guys, I was like, hey, when you go on the moped, because like they're going fast, mind you, like you don't have a helmet, you
So
have no
you're
protection. And so then I was like scared, I was like, oh shit, like.
yeah.
And
I
so
would have
then
been too.
after I asked one of the guys, I'm like, hey, like you don't feel weird like holding like a guy when you're on the moped? And then after they're like, that on the side of it, we don't. It's like on the side there's handles that you could hold on to, and
Oh
I was
man,
like, oh, okay, like. And then I kind of felt stupid, like because this guy's probably thinking like, why is she hugging me,
probably like tourists. Yeah, they're no. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, good thing you told me. If not, yeah, because
yeah.
I bet they drive wild over there too.
Oh yeah. So I went from the first time going on it being scared to like after adjusting to wearing sandals, like my dress, like just like adapting to like, oh,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
going on these like mopeds, as transportation.
Wow. Did you get to experience? I know the whole pandemic was going on and a lot of stuff was closed, but did you experience maybe see any fights over there, like tournaments, or did they have anything?
No,
Or
so the thing that sucked about it was we were supposed to go watch fights at Lumpini Stadium, but everything was shut down. Like there was nobody that was fighting, and we were
Oh,
hoping
that's
that
yeah.
things were going to get better and that it was going to reopen while we were out there. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but I did have a chance to visit temples. We went to visit a believe like five different temples while we were out there. But for Thailand invests a lot of money into their temples, and from what I've heard, some of those temples are made out of like real gold. So
Yeah, that's
it's really beautiful to see like just the structure and
yeah,
like even seeing like the statues that they have there, or like you know like just the temples that they have. I believe they've invested a lot of their money into these temples and making them like a sacred place.
yeah. Well, man, you're blessed. You know, it's anything that has to be like temple spiritual stuff. That's my passion.
Oh, nice.
That's a dream right there.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever thought in the past if you had the opportunity to um, fight overseas? Maybe one of them would be like one ship championship. I'm all like nervous over here. Um,
Mhm.
or any of the leagues over there? Has-
So that's the ultimate goal, is to eventually have an opportunity to fight on one championship. Obviously, I still have to work my way up. And actually, I made a decision January 1st. I'm going to move to Thailand for a year. I got a one I got a one-way ticket, and planning on going to Pattaya and training at Fairtex.
Ooh,
And the goal is to like, just be active and fight as much as I can, at least come back with 12 fights.
wow,
And then when I come back, go pro and see where that leads me at. And hopefully like the doors open for me to go on to like these big promotions once I do come back pro. The cool thing about Vertex Gym as well is they also have like really great grapplers and jujitsu. So if the opportunity seizes itself, then I'm also planning on doing my MMA debut while
awesome.
I'm in Thailand and coming back and fighting Muay Thai and MMA.
Wow, that is amazing. We wish you a lot of luck, and I'm sure you're gonna do it. I can see it, and it's I'll probably be doing like a fight reviews, about you because
Yeah.
before the pandemic, I started doing fight reviews on one,
Hmm.
and it really intrigued me, because it's a little bit different than over here, and but then the pandemic happened, and then I couldn't do no more reviews. I probably talked about one or two fights, and um, but yeah, we wish you a lot of luck, and I'm sure you're gonna be able to do it. You'll be getting down over there, and
Yeah, it's going to be extremely exciting, and once I set my mind to something, it always happens. That's just the way how things go. So mark my words, I am going to be a world champion, and I'm not going to stop until it happens. So I'm just going to, they say you got to pursue your passions as bad as you want to breathe, and that's kind of where I'm at. It's like I want to eat, sleep, breathe Muay Thai.
yeah,
And also I'm a mom too and work, so it's kind of like I have to balance it all. But when you kind of put your time and like not go on to like things that don't matter, right, like TV and social media, you realize
yeah,
there's a lot of hours in the day, and you don't just have to be one minded like with one goal. Like you can accomplish so many things. So I just want to be like a great mom, have a great work ethic, and then also be a great fighter.
yeah. Oh, so too with the training, keeps your mind right. It keeps you active and everything. Um, that's another thing I was gonna tell you. It's like, and I don't know how you do it, but I mean, training and everything, being a mom, and just it's a lot, but you're able to do it. So many
Yeah,
much props to you.
thank you. I just made it part of who I am. Like I don't feel right when I don't work out. And I realized that discipline is a beautiful thing, and if we all had a lot of discipline and structure, then we can. it's unlimited of the things that we can accomplish. So I always strive to be the best version of myself. And if I can like motivate and inspire someone, that means a lot to me as well.
Yeah. Uh, from the your last two fights that you had, that you recently had, um, did you feel a change when it comes to your now your actual fighting? What did you learn from the last two fights?
Yeah, so there was a huge shift just because, as I mentioned, I went to Thailand in May,
Hmm.
came back in July, didn't get a fight, and then on the plane ride home, like I was crying the whole time because I wanted to fight so badly, and
Wow.
I just didn't understand why everything happened the way how it did.
Yeah.
Just because, like I said, when I stepped into the gym, my goal was to be like like modern day Gina Carano. And when the producers saw me, they said, right when we seen you, we thought modern day Gina Carano. And so like it just kind of lit a fire under me, and I was like,
Nice.
oh, this was supposed to happen. I don't understand why. Which everything I feel like does happen for a purpose. I came back, and it did something to me mentally. And when I went into those fights, even though I wasn't active fighting for 2 years. A lot of people in the fight community weren't because all the promotions were shut down. I knew that my opponent didn't go through what I went through in
Yeah.
that ring, and that I was a lot more mentally tough, and that there was nothing that anybody could do to beat me because I deserve to be there, and I've sacrificed a lot more. I was thinking like she didn't go through what I did,
Right.
and my mental game was on a whole nother level. So I just knew like that I deserve to be a champion. And so I went in there, and I had the most recent, well, the fight before the most recent fight that I had. It ended in a split decision, which I was kind of bummed. I was like, dang, like I don't want a split decision. I want a
Yeah.
unanimous decision. So I could. Do you want me to
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
see
Please.
what split and unanimous decision is for
Oh,
people?
a split. Yeah, you can break it down. Just for the
Oh
people.
no, it's okay. Well,
Yeah.
we'll just say that I won on a split decision, and then my past three fights that I've had, prior were all split decisions. So then me and my coach, which I call him Crew, because Crew is like basically like a in Muay Thai, like that's like a higher ranking, right?
Oh, I see.
And so then we were like, just like, no more split decisions. Like, we're not gonna have it.
Yeah.
Like, we can't have like these fighters thinking like, oh yeah, well, we won. You know what I'm saying? Like, we won. It was just kind of like, we want to make sure that you win. Like, it's
It's a
like there's
win.
no
Yeah.
doubt in anybody's mind that you won the fight. So basically, I had the fight. A couple days later, another promotion wanted us to do a rematch for the title
Oh.
fight, for a title fight.
Yeah.
So then after that, it was like, okay, we're gonna get a rematch, and that was 6 weeks after the fight that I had. So then we did that, and prior to that, I was visualizing the fight. I was visualizing the emotions of being in the back room.
Yeah.
I was visualizing my hands up, and all I was repeating in my head was, thank you for the victory. Thank you for the victory, as if it already happened.
Yeah.
And so then what was interesting was when I was in the back of like the day of the fight, um, and I was in the back of the room. A lot of people like to do certain things to get in the zone or maybe have rituals. For all of my fights, I would always listen to music and like try to sleep to calm my mind, and I didn't
Oh.
have nerves. But this was the first fight that I didn't even have music on, and I was just like, I felt a sense of calmness, and I felt like I was already there. And then after, when I went in the ring, like everything happened so quick, and I just knew that I told myself like I'm not going to be as like on the go like how I normally am. Like I kind of planned it out, like the first 2 rounds, like I'm just going to see what she does, and I knew that she was going to come in forcefully because she wanted the win, right?
Yeah.
So like she did overwhelm me. Like she tried to overwhelm me with punches, and then I was kind of like, okay, letting her kind of go after me, and then after I knew she was, the third going into like third, fourth, fifth round, once her energy was low, that's when I was going to turn it up
That's
because
smart.
her hands are
Yeah.
most likely are going to be down, and I'm going to have more opportunity like to for my punches to
Yeah.
land.
Yeah.
So then that's when it did. I was just like, I'm taking it easy the first two rounds, and then I ramped it up, and I won by unanimous decision.
Yeah.
And so we were happy about breaking that split decision for the past three fights. I'm like, yeah, there's no doubt. Like, this is unanimous, you know? And I
Yeah.
believe the scorecard was like 48, 47, and then 48, 45 for two other judges.
Wow. Congratulations. And
Thank you.
yeah, no, I mean, um, your dad really prepared you well, when it came to mentally wise, and I can tell, and also to the plan, the way you had it planned out, it was a perfect plan.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, we're a big fan of Mike Tyson and Customato, and how Customato would basically, like, he helped make Mike Tyson bake great by the mental aspect. Like he went into his room and would tell
yeah,
him like, you're great. Each and every day you get better in every single way, and like repeating these affirmations over and over again, and like telling him all these things, right? And so it was a lot of psychological
yeah,
things. And so my dad would always tell me like stories about Mike Tyson and Customato, and like that was our thing, was like learning about Mike Tyson and Customato. And I was like, I want to coach just like Customato. But that was when I realized like what's it's fighting is one thing, but it's also the mindset. You have to
yeah.
be mentally strong, and that's what's going to be the difference maker of a champion and somebody that's just fighting to fight.
Right. I mean, and also too, you shared earlier about when you touched a little bit briefly on adrenaline. When it comes to a fight. Also too, like you understanding like how that works. Having the knowledge, it helps a lot. A lot of people to get into street fights. They don't
Hmm.
know. That's why I don't get into street fights because, you know.
Street fights are dangerous. You don't know.
Yeah, they say that actually, like those people that don't know how to fight and be swinging wild can be sometimes dangerous. You know what I mean? Because
Oh yeah, it just takes one hit. That's what people don't understand. It just takes one hit on the right spot to knock somebody out.
yeah, has there been any incidents in the past where like it's been the situation where you have to walk away just because you don't want to beat this person's ass, but it's been hard, like where you're like, dude, I think I should
Um,
finally, but
you know what? I think like the sport definitely has made me a lot more humble because not only knowing what I can do to somebody, but also understanding like people don't realize like also understanding like weight makes a huge difference, right?
yeah.
Like when you understand what weight classes are, then you're like, dang, like yeah, it does matter like how big a person is.
Why
And
why why
then
why is that? I know I'm asking you dumb questions, but I have to, like that way people know, because some people think that they're out there in the street fights. They think, okay, forget that. I don't care if he's big. I'm still gonna, you
oh
know,
yeah, it matters. It matters. There's weight classes for a reason, and you know, um, somebody that's a lot more bigger than you, obviously they could have more power, right? And it
yeah,
especially it just made me realize don't you can't judge a book by its cover, because you could see some people that look like complete nerds in martial arts, but they'll murder you. So it's like
yeah,
you don't want to judge anybody because you never know, right? Same aspect, like even though I'm a weapon, I don't know who else is a weapon, and I
yeah,
just don't want to like get into an altercation with somebody and something bad happens. So I try my best not to put myself in situations that can be like really bad. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And if anybody around me like gets into a fight, then it's kind of on them. But of course, like I'm a good friend. So if
yeah,
one of my
yeah,
friends get jumped, that's a different story.
yeah, yeah. No, so no, no. The reason why I asked about the sizes is because I have here in LA, California, West Coast, a lot of people, we watch too many movies or we live too close to the hood, whatever.
Yeah.
And some people think a fight is just, oh, I'm just gonna swing at them. I don't care, dude. Like gotta be careful. Also, too, like you mentioned, you never know. There's people that they don't look like they have training, but the moment you just see that pose or just the look, or then Just gotta
Yeah,
walk away.
it's always the most it people don't realize it's like they think somebody that's super rowdy, they're like, "Oh yeah, like that person is going to mess you up," but it's the silent ones that you have to be careful for. It's the people that keep their mouth closed and because they know what they can do, you know? Not even timid, it's just like not saying anything and they don't have to prove what they do because they know what they can do, you know?
Yeah. I have a couple of questions, the last ones. One of them is, if you had the opportunity to train with two people, either that they're still here with us or not with us, who would it who would it be?
Uh I think if I had an opportunity to train with somebody, like I mentioned, I'm a huge custom model fan. So number one, that would be like who I would want to be trained by, right?
Yeah.
And for the second person, I would say have to think about that one.
Okay.
But for sure, you know, that's number one who I would want to train with.
Okay. Perfect. Hopefully, we don't before we end the show. Like you'll think about another one, or then a name will come about. Um, any shout outs? Anyone you want to shout out, or any upcoming events that you might be working with, helping with, or maybe might be fighting?
Um, oh, well, I shout out my coaches earlier, and then also just want to thank my family and friends, especially my family, like for just kind of supporting my dreams,
Yeah.
being there for me, making it out to all of my fights. And, you know, I'm really blessed in that aspect because I know people who fight and don't have parents who support what they do.
Mm.
But my parents haven't miss like any of my fights, even
Yeah.
my smoker fights when I was first starting out. So I'm really grateful for that.
That's big shout out to them. Big shout out to your whole family, and hopefully if your dad or you make a book, write down a book in the future, man. I would love to read it because you guys have a lot of positivity, when it comes to the mind and stuff. Words of
Yeah,
encouragement.
my dad would love that.
That's
That's actually
powerful.
like one of the things that we both I think what both of our goals is like I definitely want to write a book and I know he
Please.
wants to write a book as well. I think it's important, right, to tell your story.
Yeah.
And my story's still being created, but
Yeah. Yeah.
once, I'll definitely share,
Please tell
about
him.
myself and that. Yeah.
Because all that stuff that he shared also too about like keeping looking at people's eyes and stuff, when you talk to them, it's a lot of subliminal stuff that like in my case I had to learn, when it came to even like stuff like that, like when you talk to somebody, you look at them at their eyes, you got to make sure,
Hmm.
if not they'll take the body language is a lot
Oh
too.
yeah, of course. And even if you think about it, like just street etiquette, right? Like if you're getting into an altercation,
You
it's
can't
like
be all
the
like,
man who looks down first is the
oh.
one who is let's just say it, a bitch, you know?
There
So
you go. Yeah. No, but yeah. So thank you for sharing. Part of your story with us and everything. Most of my viewers are female women, so I try to bring a lot of different guests, and also too when it comes to sharing their story. And I'm sure you got me inspired. I'm sure you inspired a lot of people. And big shout out to everybody that's watching live, and big shout out to everybody that is watching the replay. If you are watching the replay, you missed out because you're going to be catching the edited version. But don't worry, this episode's going to be up till the whole weekend. And if you don't catch it on the weekend, we'll re-upload it this coming week. Yeah. So, anything maybe you would like to share with us that maybe I did not ask you, or it came to your mind right now?
No, I think we covered it
Yeah.
all, and I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on your podcast. So it's really great. I think it's awesome what you're doing and the exposure that you're giving to the LA community. So I'll definitely, like, you have my support, and I'll definitely be letting my friends and family know what you're doing. It's awesome. And any other events, live events, anything that you have, please feel free to tag me in it. I'd be glad to like just promote you as well.
Thank you so much, and looking forward to your next fight. And this time I do have to make it. we'll be over there with the whole fam bam. And
Yeah, you got to fly out to Thailand,
oh, hey, you
That's
never
where the
know.
next
You know,
flight's gonna
I'm
be.
I'm a big believer. I'm not gonna say that I'm a Buddhist, but I'm a big believer of the law of attraction. And I believe
Hmm.
in what you think becomes true. So if you thought about it, you never know, man. Next thing you know, you'll be in the ring kicking ass, and I'll be in the seats just yelling, "That's my friend." Shut up,
Yeah, we'll
American.
make it happen for sure.
You have a blessed one, and take good care of yourself, and we'll be talking soon.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Okay, bye. All right, there you guys have it, ladies and gentlemen.